Yo, so this past Thursday, we went to locals and we went undefeated 4-0 with Sky Strikers. And I'm gonna hit you guys with the matchups, with the deck profile. But before we get into that, I got some big news. I am launching an apparel line, anti-meta apparel. The first launch will be in the beginning of December, so be on the lookout for that. The stuff looks really dope, so I'm hoping the samples turn out dope as well. And also, it's going to be the return of Rogue to glory. Now with events opening back up, I can finally do what I originally wanted to do with my channel, and that is become one of the premier Rogue duelists in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! So be on the lookout for that as well. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any more details or any more content. So yeah, guys, without further ado, here are the matchups and here is the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoy. I never thought I'd see the day where I'm able to go to locals and go undefeated with Sky Strikers ever again. I thought after 2018, that was done. But post-Burst of Destiny, this deck is absolutely insane. So I'm going to start off with the main deck. Obviously, we are playing 3 copies of Sky Striker Ace Raye, and then we are on the 1 Sky Striker Ace Rose. I know some people are playing 2 of this, but for me personally, I have 7 ways to access Raye or like a starter. So we have obviously these 4, we have Rhoda, we have Engage, and then we have Drones. And statistically speaking, that is a 65% chance that you open 1 or more of these starters, which I think is fantastic because that's not even including your other ways to get to it, whether hitting it off in Area 0, sending your Area 0 off of roll. And then the fantastic thing is, post-BODE, you have another monster that you can depend on in Destroy Phoenix Enforcer, which just makes the deck so much better. Because if you don't see Raye, you can just sit on DPE and play with your back row. So yeah, that's absolutely nuts. So this is all we need for these Sky Striker monsters in the main deck. Next, we're moving on to the hand traps. We are on 2 Ash, 2 Ogre, and 3 Effect Veiler. So Ash is at 2 because I don't think it's like tremendous against the current format. It's still good enough against particular rogue matchups or non-meta matchups. And also it is a tuner, so you could go into a Hulk line here. Same with Ogre, this is also a tuner that you can go into a Hulk line. This personally, I don't know how I feel about it. It did come up because I did need to use it in order to hit my own Area 0 to get access to Raye, and it actually helped me win that game. But in general, I am contemplating on maybe switching this out for something else. I don't know, we went undefeated, so maybe it's really good. It is very good to clear something off the board. And in some matchups, it can put your opponent in kind of a weird situation if you hit one of their monsters and clear it off the board. So yeah, I don't know, we're going to play around with this a bit more. We'll see how we feel. 3 Veiler. Veiler is absolutely nuts because it is your best way into your access code line. It hits stuff like Verte on Anaconda, so your opponent can't get easy access to DPE, or if they're playing Dragoon still, they can't get access to that either through Verte. And considering Veiler and Imperm are already very good in the format, you pair that with 3 Widow Anchor, your opponent is not going to have a very good time trying to resolve their monster effects. So yeah, I love the hand trap lineup. The Ogre I'm iffy on, but we'll see how it goes. We went undefeated, so we can't complain too much. For these Sky Striker spells, we're playing the 1 Engage, best card in the deck, 1 Drones, 1 Multi-Roll, 1 Afterburner, 1 Ego Booster. I really like this just because it helps ensure that your Kagari or your Shizuku resolve. Also, it could help you stall a turn by protecting, if you have 3 or more spells in the graveyard, it can protect your Link monster from being destroyed by battle or card effects for the turn. So your opponent is going to have a very difficult time killing you. And with cards like Widow Anchor, Shark Cannon, DPE, you're going to have a lot of really good follow-up for the following turn in order to clear your opponent's board and then in return set up your own board. Next, we are on 2 Area 0. Since we're not playing a second Rose, I feel like 2 is a very good ratio here. It can search for a lot of cards. The inclusion of Ego Booster also increases the likelihood of you actually hitting a Sky Striker card, so that's another thing that I really like. Then we are on 2 Shark Cannon. I think this card is very good, especially now that we are on DPE. This just special summoning a monster and having easier access to Verte, along with the fact that there are a lot of really good graveyard reliant decks, and with people playing Artifact Scythe, funnily enough, you can actually summon their Artifact Scythe and lock them out of their own extra deck, which is very cool. And for the last 3 striker cards, we are playing the 3 Widow Anchor. This card is nuts. You obviously have to max out on this. Not even the slightest bit debatable there. You can steal monsters, make Verte. If you steal a tuner, you can make Hulk. Same thing with Shark Cannon. You can special back a tuner hand trap from the graveyard. You just go into Hulk and then go into your Access Code line, which is pretty nuts. For the other spells, we are on the 1 copy of Mystic Mine. It's a necessary evil. I know people hate this card, but you gotta play along with Hayate and with DPE clearing itself off the board. This card is so good. We're playing the 1 Terraforming, which thins your deck out, can search either for Mine or for the Area 0. We are playing the 1 Rhoda, which searches for your Raye or for your Rose, whatever you need. And then we got the 1 Upstart Goblin, and yeah, that's actually the rest of the spells in the deck. Well, obviously we have Fusion Destiny, but we'll show that off a bit later. Moving on, we are playing 2 Summon Limit along with 3 Tikaboo. So with DPE, these cards become a lot better because you are able to play under 2 summons, and you are able to just sit on either a Hayase or one of your Sky Striker Link monsters. And the thing with DPE and Raye is they're never going to be on the field at the same time. You can always clear your DPE in case your Sky Striker Link monster is going to leave the field. You always can clear the DPE, and then you can bring back the Raye, and it's never going to conflict. And while these cards were always good in Sky Striker to begin with DPE, with that extra bit of damage and to pop an additional card every single turn on your turn and your opponent's turn, these cards just become infinitely better. And the reason I'm playing 2 and 3 is because you can play a combination of either one. You can play 3 Summon Limit 2 Tikaboo, or you can play 3 Tikaboo 2 Summon Limit. I really like 5 because I don't feel like statistically that just having 3 of this is good enough, because I don't think you have enough chance to draw it, whereas 5 increases your likelihood of drawing one of these cards a lot. And I forgot, we are actually playing 3 more hand traps. So we are playing 3 Infinite Impermanence. This card is very good this format because it doesn't play into triple tactics talent. A lot of people are playing those board breaker cards like Droplet, Dark Ruler no more. And alongside with those, they are playing triple tactics talent. So if you do hit your opponent with a hand trap like Valor or Ash, they're going to tactics you, and if they already have an extender, they're going to just look at your hand and rip out whatever else you have. And if they don't, they're just going to draw 2 additional cards, and there's nothing you can do about that for the most part, right? So yeah, that sucks. That's why Imperm is just very good right now. And it's a lot more versatile than something like Valor, where if you top deck a Valor for turn, you can't use it because you can only use Valor on your opponent's main phase, right? But with this, if you top deck it, you can potentially just either force out a negate or just turn something off completely, which is very, very good. And for the last 5 cards of the deck, we are playing the Fusion Destiny package, which involves 3 Fusion Destiny, 1 Celestial, and 1 Dasher. So obviously DP in this deck is absolutely nuts, and the other really good thing is we're playing such a minimal amount of monsters in our deck that for the most part we are probably going to resolve Celestial on the following turn after getting access to DPE. So those 2 additional cards that you draw, they are going to be very, very good for you, because you can draw something like a Widow Anchor, you can draw like a Shark Cannon, you can draw a Floodgate. You are just going to completely lock your opponent out of playing. So yeah, I absolutely love this package. This package absolutely changes this deck, this format, and is the reason why this deck can be viable and can win locals and can potentially top major events. Moving on to the extra deck. The extra deck for the most part is going to be fairly standard amongst every single build. The only really different things is some people will opt for something like a Nightmare Phoenix or a Ningirsu. I'm not playing either one of those cards. I didn't really miss them because I thought what I was playing was necessary to play, and they can also do the same job, if not better. So we are on the 3 Sky Striker Ace Kagari. Obviously, you got to max out on this. We're on the 3 Shizuku. Standard, you're going to see this in every single build. Then we got the 2 Hayate. Unfortunately, space is really tight. If you play the deck properly, you're only going to need 2, but 3 would be nice. But unfortunately, yeah, the space is just way too tight. We are on the 1 Kaina. This is like the worst Sky Striker Link to play. Situationally, it can come up. It's also very nice to go into in order to not waste one of your Sky Striker Ace Links. Because let's say, for example, your opponent wants to DPE and then you have Raye, right? You can go into this and your opponent's probably going to pop this, then you can bring back a Raye, and then you can still use your Hayate, your Gari, right? Because if they leave the field, you're not going to be able to summon them again because you can only summon each link once per turn. So yeah, that's going to suck if you can't utilize your Hayate to send something to the graveyard in order to add something back with Kagari, or if you can't use your Kagari to add back Engage or whatever it is in your graveyard that you need to add back. We are on the 1 Zeke. This one's really good. It actually came up. The banishing is really, really useful. And if you ever have something that's in your way, like a Nibiru on your field, it's also a nice way to link it off. We are on the Hulk package. The ulti is super, super duper clean. I love this card. The Selene and the Axis code, this is necessary. That's why we're playing 3 Valor as well. Valor is just very good in general, but with this package, Valor becomes infinitely better. And then for the last 2 cards of the extra deck, we're playing the Verte Anaconda and the DPE. These are the game changers. It is so easy for you to make Verte Anaconda in this deck with Shark Cannon, Widow Anchor. If you draw the Rose with the Raye, you can also normal summon Raye and then special the Rose, and then you can go into Verte. Not the best line of play, but it is a line. It is possible, so it gets you there. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, DPE, absolutely insane. Absolute game changer for this deck. And yeah, that wraps up the extra deck. Let me just show you guys my side deck real quick. So the thing with the side deck, you guys got to remember that you are building for your locals. Obviously, a lot of things in here can change. Nothing in my side deck is really set in stone. I'm still trying to figure out what are the best cards to pair against my locals and pair against the metagame in general. But I did go undefeated. It performed okay. There are some things I might change, but for the most part, this is what we went with. We went with the 2 Godarla. Obviously, the barrier stature isn't that much of a hindrance to you just because you are able to go into Hayate. But just in general, it is better to be safe than sorry. So we did go with the Wind Kaiju. And if anything, you could always Widow Anchor it back and go into Verte Anaconda, of course. Then we opted to go for 2 DD Crows. So I know that we are on Shark Cannon, but if people are playing DPE, I think this is just very nice to have in your side deck or your main deck as well, because you can banish the DPE and not have to waste a Shark Cannon on it, because Shark Cannon summoning back DPE is not very good, because if you pop your opponent's DPE on your field, they're just going to be able to bring it back on their standby phase, so that's not very good. And it gives you more flexibility in what you want to search with the Shizuku, what you want to send with the Hayate, so that's why I decided to go with Crow. We are playing 3 Nibiru. I don't know why. Every time I play this card in my side, I feel like I could play something better. Obviously, the card is very, very good, but I feel like the reason that I'm playing it is that it's just generically very good against a lot of decks, as opposed to being very good at shutting off the meta decks. So I feel like there are options for something that's better against the meta in particular, but generically, just because you never know what you're going to play against, Nibiru just does the job. I'm iffy on this card. It didn't really come up for me today at locals, but we'll see. We definitely need to do some more testing with this deck. We opted to go for 2 Dark Ruler No More. I know a lot of people always make a comment. Somebody has to make this comment. Oh, why does your deck list look like the semi-limited list? Bro, shut up. We decided to go with 2 Dark Ruler No More. I didn't feel like I needed 3. I'm also just testing a lot of cards in my side deck to see how they perform at locals, see how they perform against the meta. This came up once or twice. It's one of the reasons that I'm debating on playing a second Afterburner, because I feel like if I open Dark Ruler, I do want to have an easier way to access something like an Afterburner to clear a negated monster, instead of having to use like my Hayate to send Afterburner, Kagari add back, and then clear the field that way. I feel like that's a little less optimal. So yeah, I am considering bumping Afterburner to 2 just in case I do continue to play this card. I probably will. Once Droppa gets reprinted, I might add that in as well. We're playing the 1 Jamming Waves. This card was actually really good. I feel like with cards like Blackout and then Flunderies having back row as well, you can clear this, or you can clear a back row and then you can clear a monster as well. And the fact that you don't have to target the monster beforehand, it's on resolution, makes this card very, very good. I like this card in the side, not so much in the main. So yeah, it put in work for sure. And then we're on the 3 Lightning Storm. I do like the versatility of this card. You can clear back row, and if your opponent's greedy and summons monsters in attack mode, or something like Flunderies, which is going to summon their monsters in attack mode because they don't really have much of a choice, this card is just phenomenal, right? So yeah, absolutely love these. These performed really well. And then for the last 2 cards, we went with 2 Solemn Judgment, just because we had 2 extra slots in our side deck. We had to fill it up. Judgment, the theory behind this was I am playing cards like Tikaboo, I am playing cards like Summon Limit, And I'm expecting my opponent to obviously siding cards like Cosmic Cyclone, Lightning Storm, Twin Twister, whatever it is, in order to clear those floodgates. So I feel like something like a Solemn Judgment is very, very good in order to ensure that those cards stay on the field. So that is why I opted for these two cards as the last two slots in my side deck. That'll wrap it up for the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, please remember to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Bear signing off. Peace, guys.